Hello, this is my own personal reflection of this year, and this is for me personally to look back at this time to see, hey, I've improved since then. Hey, a lot, just to laugh at the time period, because you never know in life, and yeah, I thought this would be a fun thing to do, just reflecting on the year. I'd love to hear my friends' responses on this year and how they felt, and all my YouTube fans hit their R I need to actually exist. So, to start off, to start this year, I had all these crazy ambitious goals. Like, I had a lot of ambitious goals which I set, and I actually achieved a few of them this year, but as people know, coronavirus came up. But I'll start from the very beginning. It started this year earlier where I set many goals, and after I set many goals, then we went into January where I had a crazy hard month. I had all these things. I was studying for a test that, like, I tried something I don't think I've ever tried on a test at that point, using Quizlet to study word after word. I probably learned over 200 words, I guess, and that paid off, and I did really well in that test, which got me in the school I'm at. Like, sometimes it's easy to question where you are, but I know that there's some reason I go to school where I'm at, which I like in some ways at the moment, and in other ways I could be improved. But yeah, then February hit after the really hard month of January with all these things and the crazy hard swim training I had with the swim team I'm on. Then February, I don't remember it crazy well. I remember some stuff from school. I think we had finals, which I did pretty well on. And then I was like getting really prepped for like this like swim meet, and after I competed in my state conference meet, I did, in my opinion, I think that my coaches and our people would disagree because it's just I did bloody awful in my main event, and I'm a butterflyer, and that was pretty disappointing. But I did bounce back at that meet and have a really good performance in my 50 free 100 free. But you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about, but that was pretty hard for me. Like, I was so nervous at that meet. I was like crazy scared to death of the event. I would have handled that so psychologically different now. I've learned a lot since then. Then March hit. I assume you know what happened. Shut down. Put it simply. Things literally just shut down. And that was a bit disappointing. I was really excited about this thing called Midwest Regionals. That was probably the biggest meet I was ever had done with my swim team that I was on, and I was in a relay for it, and I was really excited to travel to Minnesota for this big meet, which is one of the biggest youth meets I'm pretty sure in the nation, only for it to get canceled. I was like, oh, they'll do it another time. I was thinking, nah, they didn't. Like, there was all these things. Then school, it all happened at once, actually. First, it was that got shut down. Then school. I never expected, honestly, like, I didn't realize, like, how much exponential growth. Like, I didn't really think about it that way. Like, I thought of it more like it'll be like one case per day, and like if it spreads more, it won't go at like a crazy rate. It didn't go at like an insane rate, the virus, like other viruses I know in history, like the Spanish flu. It's nowhere nearly like as spreading as fast as those. It spreads way more than the flu, but that's off topic. But yeah, I thought that it wouldn't get past, I think, 10 cases. I thought that would be crazy in my state. Oh, it got way past that. Still haven't been recorded getting it, but I personally think that there's a possibility of immunity. There is genetic immunity, which is possible. I don't want to get into debates. This is off topic. And pretty much then my swim coach sent me a thing, which was pretty much this group called Fair and Faster, and they were doing webinars. They're run by some Olympians and all these top athletes around the world to do clinics for swimmers, and they made this one video, and it was talking about like how we need to take advantage of this time. My coach sent it to all of us, and they have this webinar series. I obsessed over it. I watched probably over 100 of these, and I just learned technique after technique. I learned all these things from these Olympians and all these top athletes, and that really paid off. That was probably the most important thing I did this year. I learned so much from those about the athlete work ethic it takes. Not just that, I knew it took hard work, but there were a lot of other things I wasn't thinking about, and I learned a lot that, like, now, if I were to race again, I wouldn't experience even close to the same nervousness I did during that race, and if I did, I would know how to deal with it and have fun. And then April, I also, like, I remember, it always seems like at the time, I'm not, like, I always question if I'm doing enough. That was an important skill I feel like I learned during this time period, the importance of questioning. You know, it might annoy some people. I've learned the importance of it, because questioning can help us understand things we might have not been able to previously understand. And then, like, April and May, those were, like, okay months. I was honestly, like, really, like, I was having fun with some of the stuff I was doing outside of, like, the remote learning stuff, but the remote learning stuff was not fun. Like, I was not having a great time. And then, like, we got into, like, the finals. It didn't really feel like much of a big deal, and most teachers didn't really assign finals to, like, anything crazy. And also, I mentioned during this time was I learned about the school I got into that I wanted to get into for I think around 2 years, which I got into, which should be, I'm pretty happy with having, like, because I set a goal and I attained it. And then I would say once we got into June, school finished because we finished very late here in Chicago. I finished school, and then after finishing school, I did like really insane stuff. I would say possibly like that was possibly my biggest train I've done a month in my life, like June or July. That maybe January this year I had an even more insane train, but like during those months that was just crazy. Like I was working really hard. There were days which I took off, but I was doing all this core training and stuff. And I was doing running to get into shape for swimming because I knew we were going to come back. I'd been training for months, like, till we got back. And that summer was my opportunity. And then, like, I found running was good. I think that the moment I started realizing I was actually pretty good at running was I did, like, I used to be in Boy Scouts earlier this year. I'm happy I no more am in that. I did not have an amazing experience in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of reasons I didn't stay, and a lot of lessons I learned from it, but I won't discuss that here, but I learned a lot from it, but I don't think it's always things that they aim for people learn, but pretty much, what was I going to say? I think I was going to say... so, I'll just move on. So, I get to July, and I'm doing, oh yeah, so I ran the 1 mile time trial just, like, because it was for a Boy Scout badge, and I want to see a time trial. I think I ran 6:04. It was more like 1,500 meters, I would say, possibly less like a mile. So, I ran 6:04, I think, I recorded something around that, and I was like, holy crap, 6:04? And I did again in the future. It was like 6:11, but like that, I talked to my friends who are into running, and I think my cousin also, and I guess that was really good for a non-runner. And it was more like 6:30 actually, I would say, converting it to a mile, but that was pretty good at the time. So then I kept doing that. I wasn't running as much, I would say. I was focused more on strength during the summer. And then it got to like, I think July. July was the point where pretty much I try out something I've never tried out. I joined a running team. Yeah, that was I actually joined. My parents offered me. I was like, I don't want to join because my parents offer it. I want to join because it's out of my comfort zone. Many people might not know that. Like, I wasn't actually loving running that much. I liked the competition aspect. So then I joined running, and I thought it was pretty good. I thought I was like crazy good actually for some reason. I had a long way to go, but I feel like I was doing pretty well. I didn't know too much actually at the time about a lot of running things, but I was learning extremely fast. And so then we get to like August, and also I start at this time like winding down like the core strength stuff. Also during July we returned to swimming. That was amazing, but it was really discomfortable. Which I'm a big fan of doing things outside your comfort zone, but this was not what I was like. The water, it felt so strange swimming it. Like when it's so strange, it's when someone's never like swam in water from like who swims a lot, what it's like returning. And then pretty much then in I think I listed August, I was running and swimming, pretty much the idea. And after I did a like time trial for 2 mile, I was thinking I could go sub 12, and I didn't. Sadly, I really thought I could do that, and so after not doing sub 12, I trained extremely hard. The number one workout I remember from this time was doing a fartlek. That was so painful. That was like, but that was so annoying losing to someone. I won't list them here, but kudos to them. That was the first workout I saw them like really showing up and like starting to beat me. That was like, he's this kid on my team who I think could be like a future like top runner, one of the top in the nation, but he dropped so much time. But September then hit, and then we were starting to like get back into like school, which was remote learning at school I'd never been at. So I get to September, and I'm in remote learning. It was very like, it was very nuanced, I would say, like very unique. It was a new experience I'd never done. Going somewhere you've never been on the internet. Well, like going somewhere like for school, education, um, like with your teachers. But I was honestly not excited. I was like, how am I going to find time to do so many things? And I feel like September, October, I did not manage those. Like, I feel like the last part of the year, I could manage way better. That's how I'll put it. That's how I'll put down a year. I'll put one more month I'll talk about. October. I was coming off some terrible running meets, in my opinion. I was like so exhausted from working on practice. My teammates said I was working too hard, which I don't agree with. I feel like there was a lot I was not doing right, a lot that I could have managed better. I could have managed more consistent sleep. That's actually a major goal of mine for next year. Major. And so it was about consistency. That's why I messed up at the end of the year. But we get to the final meet of the season, which I was obsessed with, thinking about this meet after that one meet, like where I didn't do too well, the time trial earlier, like a few months before, I think in August, or like, what's the month after August? Yeah, I think it was in August or July. But pretty much after that, I was obsessed with this one meet. I set a crazy goal for myself. I thought it was a 5K. I wanted to go sub 17. I didn't come close to that this season, but I feel like if I would have understood the importance of patience, and maybe if I would have trained this entire year, I could have done that. I know I might sound egotistical. I want to prove myself with my training, but I feel like if I would have put in the right steps, which I didn't do this year, I would have done better. But to be honest, if I had spent this year, I've learned more than I've ever learned in one year. I learned so much about myself and the skills it takes to be a champion, and I feel like I was more creative this year than any other year. I thought of all these theories for so many things and all these unique ideas. I thought for myself more. I also thought of all these business ideas and other things. And I just feel like I'm more creative overall and have a bigger, like, I still had goals like every other year, but I now know how to manage them. So going into 2021, my big goal is consistency. Doing at least 5 minutes of playing my instrument every day. Something which I totally messed up this year. I should have practiced over 300 times or over, like, if I want to get into the group I want to get into. There was a group I wanted to get into for years called CYSO or Chicago Youth Symphony. I didn't. I don't deserve last year to have gone in. I know why. And I will keep trying until I do. And I know I can do it this year if I practice every day and always look for ways to improve. So my goal is 5 minutes every day of running and 5 minutes every day of that, of playing my instrument. They're pretty ambitious goals in my opinion. Then I have other goals, but those are probably my two largest, because those two, along with going to sleep, like being awake every day by 6 o'clock, will be the ones that pay off in the long run. Or just in general, they will pay off. And someday I will look back and be like, that was a good decision. For anyone who stayed, thank you for staying. I feel like this was a really good year in some ways. Like, I feel like I took advantage of it, but I will do better next year, as every year. I improved in some ways, and I'll look back on next year thinking about what I could improve again, and thinking something that I didn't think this year will have a lot to improve, because I'll be smarter and know a lot more. And one other thing. For all the people who have said that 2020 was a terrible year, it wasn't. You've been watching the news possibly too much, or possibly too much social media. Like, 2020, this might have been one of the most important years in history. So many discoveries have been made because this year. We've learned so many things, and like the scientific community, people have learned many things across so many platforms. People are able to spread their messages more on social media. Like, the internet became larger than ever, and so many people took advantage of it. Many businesses might have ended, but many businesses are to come. And there's about to be a big baby boom. I don't know if there's any young children watching, but there's a reason that there's about to be people being indoors and stuff this year. But it's going to be a good year. Not to mention that a lot of athletes are just going to destroy previous times this year. We're already seeing it. In running, we've already had a crazy year of world records. And this year, the Olympics are next year. And so all these records are getting destroyed. And same as swimming. Like, famous swimmer Caleb Dressel is my favorite swimmer personally, but he's going to be well known after Tokyo. He's destroyed all these times, which he's absolutely destroying. I think that he's going to destroy so many world records next year in Tokyo. Next year's Olympics will be the best ever. There's going to be so many crazy things next year. People, if they look at the positives, next year's going to be absolutely insane. Okay. I'd like to say thank you for all the people who stuck through this. It means a lot. I think understanding is very important. If you understand how my life was, maybe you could understand yours, or maybe it could help you understand yours more. Or let me know, like, what I could improve or anything. I know that this was a long video, but thank you for staying all the way through, or even if you skipped to the end. Thank you. I hope that all of you have a great year next year and had a good 2020, or have a lot to improve with it. Bye.